Hello, everyone. I am Pratibha from Involve, which is an India based nonprofit working towards developing agency in students. We work with public schools and communities from rural and tribal geographies, where we use peer pedagogies towards students developing the sense of agency in their learning and their classrooms and beyond that. If you look at the Indian education system, we see three core problems that have been identified. The first is the significant academic gap among all our students. We observe that 48% of fifth graders cannot do basic reading and arithmetic. We also see a huge lack of future readiness among our students, which eventually leads to over 50% of our youth not being ready for jobs of the future. And the third problem, which largely came to light during the COVID pandemic, was that more than 80% of our students lost a mathematical or language ability in the last year, and which directly correlated to the inability of our students to overcome adversity. All of these problems, we believe, can be attributed to a lack of agency. Students lack voice, choice, and ownership of their learning, and therefore are not driven towards actually shifting these outcomes. What we believe at Involve is that using peer based pedagogies, that is, when children teach and learn from each other through discussion, reflection, and inquiry, they build skills like self awareness, confidence, critical thinking, problem solving, etc., which not just improves their academic outcomes, leads to future readiness, and helps them build resilience to overcome adversity. With this theory in mind, we created peer-based programs which allow students to take more ownership and an active participation in their learning. These programs were designed from the lens of seeing students as users and not beneficiaries. And therefore, they relied on three strong pillars: co-creation and design with students. These programs were led and created entirely by students, and students participated in these programs through their active choice. What do we really envision through these programs? For a student, we envision moving them from being a passive recipient of learning to demonstrating agency for themselves. For a school, we imagine them moving from just us setting up these peer-based learning spaces for them to them embracing the idea of collaborative learning and adult-child partnerships. For districts and the education ecosystem as a whole, we would like to move from us providing support on professional development to embedding the philosophy that students are partners to learning journeys within the ecosystem. With this vision in mind, so far Involve has worked in 4 states of India: Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh through these peer-based learning programs. And the impact that we've seen through our programs has been significant. The first shift that we've seen is the learning gap of our leaders and of our students. We've seen 59% average improvement in the academic scores of our students in the program. We've also seen very strong shifts in 4 key skills that we measured: communication, collaboration, ownership, and problem solving. We've seen majority of our students become stronger at these skills as a result of the program. And the third aspect is we've seen students feel a sense of resilience. Over 65% of our students, when they returned back to school from the COVID school closures, stated that their confidence at returning to schools largely came from their participation in the peer teaching program. This impact has shown us that peer-based pedagogies or peer learning methods can significantly build resilience, academic growth, as well as the skills required in our students, and ultimately them being able to develop a sense of agency. Now, I'd just quickly like to introduce you to the team at Involve. So Devanshu and Samyak, who are the co-founders at Involve, are part of IIT Madras and are joined by Ashwini and me as part of the leadership team at the organization. We also have a stellar board of advisors who support the management of our programs. And I'd also like to quickly share some of the achievements that we've had, which we're incredibly proud of. The first and latest one being selected as a top 100 innovations globally by 100. We've also received few fellowships, both nationally as well as internationally, the latest one being the South Park Commons Fellowship by Agency Fund. And now coming to what I require your support from and what I'm seeking from this community. At Involve, we are very committed to measuring the impact of our programs, researching them very strongly, understanding in depth what is happening. Towards that, we've developed a lot of internal tools, guidelines, methods, etc. And we are seeking help and support in strengthening some of our evaluation tools that we've created internally. We're also at Involve trying to develop a research vertical in the organization to help us study more closely aspects of peer learning, collaborative learning, as well as agency among students. Towards this, we seek your support in being able to help us define our research questions and design studies. I hope that we will be able to partner with this community and learn more, a lot more from all of you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.